Today, really seeing that rally continue on the NSE. Is confidence back in the market firmly, would you say?
Yeah, good afternoon, Susan. Well, we still see the confidence persist in the market. Positive sentiments at all-time highs. Good results coming in from Zenith Bank. We're expecting further good results from other banks, since most of them have a deadline of March end for them to release all the results. So it is looking good for the Nigerian Stock Exchange right now with all the positive sentiments. Susan.
And just on those Zenith Bank results, we know that there has been pressure from the central bank for banks to get their Q4 results out by Wednesday this week. But with Zenith, we find it quite interesting here through our analysis that they're looking at a 15-month period as opposed to a 12-month period. Should that earnings figure of 31% actually be lower?
Well, the periods of comparison, we need to clarify that now. It's a 15-month period. They're comparing 15-month period and 15-month period. They're comparing July to September 2008, and they're also comparing the September to October to December 2009. So it is a 15-month period they're comparing, not a 12-month, 15-month period. So in terms of comparison, they got it right. They're comparing year on year, equal years, equal months.
All right, but despite that increase, the fees and commissions income was pretty flat. What was behind that?
Well, based on what we see, we know that there was an increase in growth, loan growth to the corporate and retail banking markets, retail banking sectors of their business. So we're looking at a situation in which the commercial loans, retail loans, they wound down on those ones, and they increased the loans to the corporates, which will be responsible for a reduced fee and commission income. Reduce in fee and commission incomes. But on the other side, on the flip side, we see a growth in their gross earnings, which is also as a result of their focus. They just decided to focus on these corporates, the large corporates, and not really go down to the smaller corporates and the retail sectors.
Is that increase in market share on that corporate and retail banking front, is that a direct result of the central bank's audit, would you say?
Well, we cannot rule out that fact, because the banks that were affected by the CBN audit, PHB, Oceanic Bank, Intercontinental, were big players in the industry as well. They were big players in the corporate sector, they were big players also in the retail sector. So we cannot rule out the fact. Even though the CBN tried to manage that particular crisis so as not to have a run on the CBN managed banks, but customers the likes had a lot of negative sentiments towards the banks. So the immediate reaction we saw from then at that point in time was a movement towards the other banks. So we cannot really rule out the fact that the CBN audit caused a major shift in customer perception, which would have favored a lot of the other banks, Zenith, UBA, GTB, and the like. So we cannot rule out that fact. It may not be the major factor, but we cannot totally rule out that fact.
Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, the investment management and stock brokering business losing 4 billion naira. What is the company, what is the bank doing to stem losses and grow that business?
Well, there will be a reduced investment in the equity market, cautious investment in the equity market for their customers, which is why they will still be in a loss position. But coming back from the previous year, I'm sure they've probably done better in terms of recoveries and all that. But basically, the strategy for them will be to have a reduced investment in equity market and try and take a more cautious note towards that. They'll also be looking at diversifying their investment base to other sectors of the economy. Now, right now in Nigeria, we know that T-bills and bonds are also at a low time, as all-time low. So the question is, what specific investment outlets for them is available for them to look at and invest in. So this for them, I think that is the key challenge for this business, particularly stockbroking arms. But I know that the stock market is bouncing back gradually. Positive sentiments are coming in, and they will be looking at that very closely.